Welcome to Kingdom Clarity. My name is Eric. I'm the lead pastor at the Bridge Church in Glendale, Arizona. The aim of this channel is to bring biblical clarity to a controversial world. I'll be honest with you. If you're looking for a watered down version of God's truth in a controversial world, this is not the channel for you. But if you are looking for biblical truth on some of the most controversial issues of our day, I think you'll enjoy this channel. I'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. My hope is that this content helps you grow and develop into a bold and educated Christian. So where did all this come from? Like, why do a channel at all? Well, Romans 1 was a startling chapter I studied earlier this year, and it really got deep into my heart about what they were facing then and how a lot of this applies to us today. And so the context here is Paul is teaching a church that has all of these converted Christians that are Gentiles, and then all these Orthodox Jews who have come into Christianity, and like they're trying to figure out, how do we coexist and what new ideas are from God and what aren't. And it's a beautiful mess, but Paul is writing clear instruction to the church at Rome. And he says some things that are really interesting to me. And I think it really applies to the day that we live in right now. And so in Romans chapter 1, and there's so much more, I'll just read these first few verses. Starting in verse 21, Paul says, "For although they knew God," so it's not just that they knew about him, they knew him. He was real to them. "They neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened." And that's a scary text to me, that they once knew the truth. They once knew God. And because of their own thinking, their own ability to rewrite and change things that God had said, it says that their hearts were darkened. Verse 22 says, "Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools." That's one of the main goals of this channel is I don't want to be around a bunch of foolish Christians. I don't want to be a foolish Christian, and I don't want my heart to be darkened because of the lies I've accepted. Verse 25, he says, "They exchanged the truth about God for a lie." There was an exchange that took place. They once knew the truth, and they traded it in for something that was easier in their flesh and in their humanity. It says they worshiped and served created things rather than the Creator. And I don't know if that sounds a little bit like the church today. We're trading in things that God gave us for our good, but it's found in truth. In verse 28, it says, "Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind, so that they do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity." God gave them over to what they really wanted in their flesh. And I see a lot of that today. I see a culture that desperately wants to impose its values, not just on the world, but on the church. We're exchanging truth and we're trading it in for lies. And what God is giving here to the Romans is giving them over to the depravity of their own minds. Verse 29, it says, "They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity." I mean, that's what they got in exchange for the truth. And then in verse 32, and I think this speaks to the culture of Christianity in a lot of ways, it says, "They not only continue to do these very things, but also approve of those who practice them." And this is where we need God's truth the most, in the midst of lies. And so God gave us his truth so that we could know. And so the goal of this channel is to bring biblical clarity to a controversial world. There are a lot of ideas, there are a lot of thoughts and agendas being presented to God's people today. How do we know what's from him and what isn't? Well, we have his word. And my hope is that this channel will help educate you, empower you, and embolden you to live in God's truth. So I hope that you'll join us every week for Kingdom Clarity as we dive into the most important issues of our day.